channel, and this is an overview of the situation on the Ukrainian front. Well, the fighting continues, and we continue to analyze the frontline situation. Let's turn to the map. So friends, August has already brought good news. Right away, let me tell you so you understand. Over the past 24 hours, more than 50 square kilometers have come under Russian control. Can you imagine that? Moreover, the situation for the Ukrainian Armed Forces, UAF, near Pokrovsk is dire. One might even say catastrophic. Just yesterday, the German outlet Die Welt reported that the UAF's front line here is collapsing and that the Russian army is breaking through and encircling Pokrovsk. And that's exactly what's happening. It's enough just to look at the map. Yesterday, reports came in that Russian forces had already entered Krasny Liman, and if you look at the map, you'll see that this village is directly connected to Rodinske. The road between Rodinske and Pokrovsk has now become a graveyard of Ukrainian military equipment. A video surfaced online showing a Ukrainian soldier crying and saying everything is being destroyed, while showing a convoy of burnt-out equipment on that very road. Movement along it is now impossible, as it is fully controlled by Russian drone operators. In short, this is a total disaster for them. That said, the UAF is still trying to put up resistance in some areas. Over the past day, they launched a counter-offensive in Zaporizhzhia Oblast, near the village of Plavny. This is the only territory the Ukrainian armed forces managed to retake in the last 24 hours. But it's a tiny patch, just 0.5 square kilometers. Meanwhile, the Russian side captured 100 times more, 50 square kilometers during the same period. Still, this fight in Plavny was a meat grinder. I've seen a lot of footage from the front, but these images were something else. The UAF paid a heavy price for those half a square kilometer. And the question is, does this gain change anything on the front? No. Even on this very section, without considering the whole front, Russian fighters are already on the outskirts of Stepnohursk. They control the entire 3rd micro-district. That's a cluster of high-rise buildings. Kicking them out is no longer feasible for the UAF. Plavny is already surrounded from 3 directions, east, south, and to the west, there's a reservoir. The only direction they can retreat is north. So despite their efforts, the village is doomed. And in trying to improve their positions, the UAF lost nearly 30 soldiers. Yes, they clawed out 0.5 square kilometers, but what is that compared to Russian gains? Half a square kilometer versus 50, it's a mosquito bite, nothing more. As always, I'd like to kindly ask you to subscribe to the channel if you've been watching my videos for a while but haven't subscribed yet. Your support really helps the channel grow. Thank you to everyone who's already subscribed. Now, about our advances over the past 24 hours, there's great news. First, look at this success on the left bank of the Zherebets River. It's just excellent. We managed to push forward more than 4 kilometers inside the village of Torska in the residential zone. We reached and cleared the southern outskirts. The central part remains contested, but if there are any UAF forces left, they're encircled. They might try to cross the Zherebets and escape to Zarekne, the village on the opposite bank, but under fire, 9 out of 10 won't make it. These areas, like the northern outskirts, will soon be marked in red as well. Importantly, the Russian army not only cleared Torsky itself, but also a large area east of the village, including part of the Serebryanske forest. The maximum depth of the advance was over 8 kilometers, and the total area captured in the last 24 hours here was 24.5 square kilometers. And this is especially significant given the location. If this had happened in southern Donetsk Oblast, where the Vostok group regularly advances, we'd still be impressed. That group often shows results of 15 to 20 square kilometers. But here, on the left bank of the Zherebets, I've never seen such numbers before. Just to put it into perspective, everything gained in the last 24 hours is more than what was taken here during all of June and July combined. In June, Russian forces actually lost 3 square kilometers in this area. So June was a net loss, in favor of the UAF. In July, we gained 12 square kilometers. Combined, that's 9 square kilometers in 2 months. But in just 1 day now, 24.5 square kilometers. The UAF's front here has clearly collapsed, and perhaps the most important thing is that the heavily fortified defense line is finally behind us. Now, the key task is to take Zarechne, the large village on the opposite bank. As long as it remains under UAF control, they'll keep applying pressure, launching attempts to reclaim Torske. Even if they stop suicidal attacks, they'll still shell the village constantly, making stable control impossible. The central part will remain a grey zone. So this issue with Zarechne must be resolved. Currently, Russian positions are 4 kilometers away. Moving on, there was good progress in the Pokrovsk area. In the past day, Russian forces advanced from Zelene and reached Novokranka, taking it under full control. The area of advance here is 4.1 square kilometers. The next targets are Chunushina, followed by Novopavlivka. Inside Pokrovsk itself, urban combat continues. Here, American cartographers are showing incorrect maps. Footage confirms Russian presence in multiple parts of the city. This entire area is now under Russian control. Things also look grim for the UAF in the Rudinsky area. As I mentioned earlier, Russian troops have entered Krasny Lyman and are consolidating on the eastern outskirts. If we soon take full control of the village, we'll be able to reach the railway line south of the city. That would mean Rodinsk gets completely cut off from Pokrovsk and Mirnohrad. That's one. And two, it will be on the brink of full encirclement. So let's keep watching. I feel like this week, which has just begun, will bring some very interesting developments, perhaps even several local collapses. Next, a serious setback occurred for the UAF on the Novopavlivka section of the front. Russian fighters managed to advance a wide section by 4 kilometers. Just look at the map. Quite a significant piece of territory fell under Russian control. The area is almost 25 square kilometers to, be exact, 24.8. Another local collapse where UAF couldn't withstand the pressure and retreated several kilometers. And note, this is happening more and more frequently. During this summer campaign, it's become a regular occurrence. Kostiantynivka direction. On the western flank, the Russian army is advancing east of Vladimirovka and north of Poltavka. To the south, the Russian Ministry of Defense confirmed control over Oleksandr Kalinove. 6 kilometers to the east, fighting is ongoing for Katarinivka. Between Oleksandr Kalinova and Katarinivka lies a bottleneck where a large UAF grouping is trapped. Kiev cannot break out to the north, and access to Kostiantynivka is blocked by the Kleban Bike reservoir. To the north, Russian forces are advancing in the Stupochki area, moving toward Prytekine. Based on the heavy strikes on Drushkivka, we can assume that once Chasiv Yar is fully controlled, the Russian army won't move directly on Kramatorsk or Sloviansk, but will instead take a flanking route via Drushkivka. In total, if we sum up all sectors of advance over the past day, Russian forces captured 53.7 square kilometers. Let me repeat, 53.7 square kilometers came under Russian control in the last 24 hours. A strong start to August, right? Well, that's all for the frontline update for today. Now a few words on politics. The US Senate will not pass a sanctions bill against Russia or restrictions against third countries until the fall, The Hill reports, despite Trump's threats. Even though Ukraine's staunchest supporters in the Senate wanted the sanctions bill passed before the month-long recess. In the end, they left the decision entirely up to Trump, at least for the summer. Although some senators openly expressed a desire to vote before the recess, no announcements were made regarding the voting schedule for Blumenthal's bill. According to the Washington Post, if the US imposes sanctions against Russia along with tariff hikes up to 500%, it would spark a trade conflict with nearly the entire world. Essentially,